Welcome to the Okavango Delta in Botswana. This spectacular inland delta is well regarded as one of the best places in the world to go on safari. And with high concentrations of elephants and big cats, it's easy to understand why. But due to Botswana's high-value, low-density tourism scheme, a safari here doesn't come cheap. I'm journeying to Moremi Game Reserve in the east of the Okavango Delta to find out if a safari here is worth the hype and the price tag. But let's just say my journey is going to be a little more challenging than I'd anticipated. Join me as we explore the world-famous Okavango Delta. Today is an extremely exciting day because we are heading to Moremi Game Reserve in the Okavango Delta. We've spent the last 3 days in Maun. We came from Johannesburg and then have just been relaxing, and now it's time for the adventure to truly begin. So today it's going to be roughly a 3.5 or 4 hour drive from the town of Maun, which is just south of the Okavango, to Moremi Game Reserve, which is to the east of the Okavango Delta. So cannot wait to share the journey with you. Ready to go. It isn't long before we leave the tarred roads behind us and find ourselves surrounded by nothing but rolling wilderness. We get our first wildlife sighting long before we reach the gate. A family of elephants is vanishing into the Mopani woodland beside the road. And here we are as the gate to Moremi Game Reserve. It has been quite the journey so far. It's been maybe around 4 hours, and I'm in an open top vehicle, so my hair is a little bit blown about. The sun is setting very soon, and it's going to be another hour from the gate to reach our campsite, and I'm hoping we see some exciting animals along the way. We're entering Moremi Game Reserve through Moremi's South Gate. Our campsite is located in Kakanaka, which is in the north of the reserve, so we still have quite a journey ahead of us. As soon as we're in Moremi, we stumble upon this herd of elephants drinking from a watering hole. A few adorable youngsters are amongst them. As much as I'd like to, we can't stay with them as Moremi has a strict curfew which isn't far off. We then encounter these 2 elegant giraffes who are enjoying a nice meal. Our guide Lucas tells us that one of the giraffes' favourite trees to eat is an acacia. Once the acacia knows it's being eaten, it sends out a chemical which turns its leaves bitter and undesirable for the giraffe. It also lets other nearby acacias know too, so that they can turn bitter as well, forcing the giraffes to search elsewhere for food. How incredible! The approaching sunset means that our time is starting to run out, and we can no longer afford to stop and admire the wonderful wildlife that we pass. But sometimes, when the animals are blocking the road, you have no choice but to stop. Finally, we make it to camp, just in time. Night has fallen by the time we make it to our tents, and so it's not the best lighting for a room tour. Don't worry, I'll give you a full tour tomorrow. But for now, it's time to get some sleep as an incredibly exciting day lies ahead of us. Good morning. It is 5:30 a.m. or nearly 6 now. We woke up at 5:30 today, just about to have breakfast. I've got a lovely hearty porridge here, got a nice tea, and then I'm going to have some toast. I'm about to head off on a really early safari. The sun is just starting to rise, so it's starting to get a little bit lighter around me. We had a really nice first night. We could hear the sounds of the hyenas, the lions, the hippos, and yeah, super excited to see what we may encounter today on our first day of safari in the Okavango Delta. We're only a few minutes away from camp when we encounter our first animals of the day. A group of impala look particularly striking in the early morning light. This tender moment between these 2 impalas fills my heart with happiness. Nearby are a family of zebras. A sweet young foal is amongst them, having a morning feed. The Okavango Delta is famous for its varied landscape. Forests, wetlands, tributaries, and grasslands provide a range of habitats for an abundance of species, making it incredibly diverse in comparison to other ecosystems across Africa. Our goal for today is to explore each of the different habitats and see what animals we can find. There are a few animals in particular that I am hoping we come across on our 4-day adventure in Moremi. At the top of my bucket list is the critically endangered African wild dog. Botswana is one of their last strongholds, and the possibility of spotting one here was the driving factor in deciding to go on safari in Botswana. Next on my list is the leopard. Whilst I have seen them before in Tanzania and Kenya, my sightings feel fleeting. I'm hoping that maybe here we'll have a close encounter or two. Then there's lions and cheetahs, two of my absolute favourite animals. We drive on into the morning, the hours passing by. So far, Moremi's larger inhabitants have been avoiding us, but when you stop obsessing over the big five and start appreciating the moment, you notice beauty and interest everywhere, such as these adorable tree squirrels, and the plethora of birds like these lilac-breasted rollers, red-billed hornbill, birch-hill starlings, glossy ibis, African fish eagle, black-winged stilt, and marabou stork. My favourite, however, has to be the southern ground hornbills, the largest species of hornbill in the world. We also come across a family of banded mongooses, who seem to have taken up residence in this fallen log. It is mid-morning, and we have just stopped for a nice little tea break here by this, normally like a lake or something, but it's kind of dried up at the moment. The water will flow down from Angola in about a month's time, but for now, it is dry. So far, it's been a nice morning. We've been taking things slow. We've seen lots of cool animals, paying attention to like the small details. We've seen lots of cool birds, little squirrels, little mongooses, all the cute little things. I cannot wait for a tea. One thing I will say is the mornings here are so cold. Even now, it's like bright sunshine. It's like nearly 10 a.m. and it's still chilly. I'm not taking my beanie hat off. The hot water bottles we were given and the blankets have been an absolute lifesaver here. It isn't long before we're back on the road once more. We quickly come across these two giraffes, a male and a female. This pair appear to be in courtship, where they will stay close to each other for a number of days. It can take several days of hanging out together before the female starts to pay any attention to him. As the morning starts to heat up, animals such as these impalas and zebras move into the open to graze. Amongst them, I spot two sparring wildebeests. Although their interaction looks fierce, these guys are just playing. We then encounter a majestic kudu antelope. Our journey leads us to a river. There is so much life to see here, such as this saddle-billed stork, this African darter, this grey heron, and numerous hippos. A herd of impala are also hanging out here, coming down to the river for a drink. We also spot a couple of Nile crocodiles and even a water monitor. Just as we're admiring the crocodile, we run into some trouble. So we've had a little bit of car trouble. Car was not starting and we think it's something to do with the ignition. It changed the fuse and stuff and it didn't really work. We were so fortunate to bump into a little guy who was able to help us, and just now he's just pulled us so we could get moving and then start the car because it won't start. Anyway, the good news is we have a mechanic back at camp, so hopefully the vehicle will be fixed in time for our afternoon game drive, but it means we have to head back now without stopping. So yeah, wish us luck. Fortunately, we're not far away from camp, and it isn't long until we arrive back. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you.
Okay, so we're back at camp now, and I wonder if you can see this. There is an elephant, and it's literally just there, so close to the campsite. Now that we're back at camp, it's time for a tent tour. So this is our home the next 2 nights. This is our mobile tent, and this tent has just been put here now for us. So when we arrived today, it's always been set up. But when we move to Kauai in a few days' time, this will be packed up and moved to the next location. I will give you a tour of this tent. So we have a little outdoor area. We can just chill. We have a mirror here and a little basin-like thing so we can freshen up. And then inside, we've got the bedroom and we have a nice double bed here. Tables either side, we can put some stuff. And then we've got all the towels, extra blankets, and at night we get a hot water bottle, which is such a nice touch. And then through here, if you follow me, a little open air bathroom. We've got the shower here, which comes through here. This is the bucket shower, so the water is filled into here and then released by this little toggle. We actually have a toilet, which is quite crazy. I won't open it up, but yeah, it's just a normal, well, we sit on it, a normal toilet seat. But it doesn't flush, it's just a hole in the ground. And you just cover with soil at the end. And this hole has been dug specifically for us. And then at the end, it will be completely filled in and covered over, so we're leaving no trace. You can use loo roll as well, and that's buried in there as well. So this is the current situation, but they're actually looking at having flushing toilets next year. Finally, we have our little hand basin here, and you just wash your hands and everything. We also have little toiletries, which is really cute, nice touch. We have some time to freshen up before lunch is served.
Yeah, so this is a chicken pizza. That is a cauliflower salad. And then that is a Greek salad, yeah. There's an avocado, and then this is a homemade, freshly baked.
Perfect.
This morning.
Thank you. After polishing off our delicious lunch, it's time to head out on an afternoon game drive. We first encounter this family of vervet monkeys, including the cutest little baby. We round a bend and I'm in awe. Watching this family of elephants come through the forest towards us is without a doubt the highlight of my day so far. They just look so magical, almost unreal. Little did I know this was just the start of what would prove to be an extremely exciting game drive. We soon come across this group of impalas. It's the rutting season, where the males try to secure dominance over a group of females. This dominant male has some competition, his group being followed by a couple of intruding males. And so he must try to keep them from getting too close. As sunset approaches, we pull up at a scenic spot beside a family of elephants. I hold my breath as they step out of the forest and start to cross the open plains right in front of us. I cannot think of a better way to end our first full-day safari in Moremi. Little did I know, Moremi had one last surprise in store for us, and it was going to be our best surprise yet. The light is fading fast as we journey through the Mopani woodland in the direction of camp. With Moremi's curfew approaching us, I didn't expect that we'd have time for another sighting. But then, I see him. I can't believe we found a leopard. We try to get a closer look. I hold my breath as he settles down, not quite able to believe that this beautiful male leopard is allowing us to spend time with him. And as quickly as it started, the moment ends, his patterned coat melting into the forest. All I can say is wow. Now, that was definitely the highlight of my day. Back at camp, we enjoy a fabulous dinner before retiring for the night. After today's events, I truly cannot wait to see what tomorrow has in store. Good morning, guys. It is 6:30 and day 2 on our safari. We're about to head out on a big morning game drive again. We're going to the south of Moremi now, an area where it's known to have wild dogs and cheetahs, so I'm really hoping that we see them. Wild dogs is the ultimate bucket list item for me, and I'd be so happy to see them. Obviously, even if we don't, we've seen so much already, but yeah, that would be a dream come true. I'm so happy that we're out early enough to catch this spectacular sunrise over the Okavango Delta. The sunrises I've had in Botswana are without a doubt some of the best I've ever experienced. And it's not just me who's enjoying the sunrise. This herd of impalas are feeling particularly fresh, celebrating the coming day with some spectacular leaps. I can't believe how much we've seen on this Okavango Delta safari, and there's still so much more to come. We wouldn't have seen anywhere near as much wildlife if we didn't have a fantastic guide with us who is incredibly skilled at wildlife tracking. If you'd like to book your own Botswana safari, click the link in the video description and pin comment. It gives you the opportunity to get quotes from the same tour operators who I used for my Botswana safari and who I highly recommend. We come across this side-striped jackal. This is my first time seeing a side-striped jackal, as they are typically nocturnal, so can be hard to encounter in the daytime. As we continue our drive into the late morning, we find an interesting sighting. This black-shouldered kite is feasting on some kind of rodent. The kite is one of many birds we find on our game drive. Botswana is quite frankly a bird lover's dream, and we spot a coppery-tailed cuckoo, little bee-eater, blacksmith lapwing, birch-hill sand grouse, white-browed sparrow weaver, and Zazu from the Lion King, formerly known as a red-billed hornbill. Our next encounter is with this pair of common reed bucks. Despite what the name suggests, they are actually not all that common. And then we find this elephant who's digging in the sand for plant roots to feast on. This elephant is missing the tip of its tail. It likely lost it in an altercation with either a lion or a crocodile. It has been a morning. We've just stopped for a little tea break in a nice scenic, marshy area. And then the morning game drive continues. But first, tea. After our tea break, we head to an area of Moremi known as Third Bridge. It's here that we encounter this huge hippo outside the water and a pair of side-striped jackals. It's crazy to think on all my safaris I'd never encountered these guys before, and then here we are seeing 3 in one morning. One of them appears to have a rather unusual growth on its lip, but it doesn't seem to be holding him back as he trots off with his mate. We continue our drive, passing these helmeted guinea fowls, before we come across my favourite sighting of the day so far. This group of spotted hyenas are trying to keep cool by lying in the mud. Sleeping so adorably like this, it's easy to forget they're formidable predators with some of the strongest jaws in the animal kingdom. This group is mostly made up of cubs. You can tell they're young by just how fluffy they are. As a hyena ages, its coat gets smoother, shorter, and the spots become more pronounced. As the sun rises higher in the sky and warms the landscape, not even the mud can keep the hyenas cool, and so they move on, searching for shade. Midday comes and goes, and so we begin to meander back to camp for some lunch. But the action isn't over yet. The Okavango Delta never ceases to catch us by surprise. That was a tense moment. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little nervous. But Lucas, our guide, seemed to know exactly how to handle the situation, which made us all feel more at ease. Back at camp, lunch is followed by some freshly baked cake and tea. Then it's time to head back out and explore a different part of the reserve. We encounter a pair of giraffes in courtship, perhaps the same pair that we saw yesterday. This time, however, they're not alone. An intruding male is getting too close for comfort, and the dominant male decides to let him know who's boss. It isn't long until we reach this flooded plain, which is absolutely teeming with life. Before I came here, I had a picture in my head of what the Okavango Delta would look like. This is it. This is exactly how I imagined it would be. Despite having some expectations, I still wasn't prepared for just how beautiful it is. This scene before me honestly left me breathless. It's just so peaceful, so tranquil. And the diversity here is unmatched. The red lechways take centre stage here. These antelopes are specifically adapted for running through water, which helps them to outrun predators. The bird life is incredible too. We have Egyptian geese, a squacco heron, a grey heron, some Myers parrots, and my absolute favourite, a grey go-away bird. There's something about their mohawks, name and song that fills me with joy.
We're out on our evening game drive on day 2. We've just come to this lovely place called Dead Tree Island, which you can see around me now. We've just pulled over to take some photographs and stretch our legs. There's a load of dead trees here. And the reason there's so many dead trees here is because in 2010 there was a big flood and this whole area was underwater and the trees got too much water and they died. Yeah, very pretty, very scenic landscape. It feels, it's gorgeous. And with the sunset as well, it's just pretty wild, pretty spectacular.
We decide to head back to the floodplains to watch the sunset, and we are not disappointed. A huge elephant has come down to the water to cool off and to feed. As we sit watching the elephant feed, with the sunset behind him, we suddenly hear something incredible. Lions. With no hesitation, we head off in the direction of the roars, only to encounter a slight obstacle. Unable to cross the river, and with the curfew not far off, we have no choice but to head back to camp. But we certainly know exactly where we'll be heading first thing tomorrow morning. I can't wait. We may finally see lions.
Good morning. So today is our last morning in Moremi. We're about to move to Kwai and our camp is being packed up.
As we're on a luxury mobile camping safari, our incredible team will work throughout the morning to dismantle camp whilst we enjoy a game drive. They'll then drive on ahead to our next location and have everything set up and ready for us before we arrive. We head out with a clear mission in our mind, to find the lions that we heard roaring last night. But as we traverse the area where they were last night, it seems they don't want to be found. Even so, the area is so beautiful here that it's hard to be disappointed. And it seems there's even more action going on here than there was last night, with numerous hippos dotting the river. And a great array of water birds are parading across the island, including egrets, a spoonbill, an African openbill, and an African sacred ibis. And then we encounter some tree squirrels, making alarm calls. We spend a long while trying to figure out what caused their distress, thinking there could be a snake nearby. Alas, there was nothing. Lucas tells us that they hold grudges and will keep alarming long after the danger has passed. Rumour has it the squirrels are still alarming to this day. Nearby is a mayor's parrot who's enjoying eating the fruit of a sausage tree. Our search so far hasn't given us any lions, but we have found the tracks of a large buffalo herd. We decide to follow them. If there are any lions in the area, surely they are also following the herd, as buffaloes are one of their favourite sources of prey. It isn't long until we find the herd, and wow, they're far more impressive than I'd ever imagined. I've seen buffaloes before, but never like this, with several hundred of them marching together. The herd is made up of males, females, and calves. Typically, the large males keep to the outside so that they can protect the younger individuals. Accompanying the buffaloes are oxpecker birds who eat ticks and other parasites from the buffaloes' coats, so the buffaloes essentially enjoy a spa treatment as they walk. At the very back of the herd are the stragglers, who are typically made up of several old bulls. These guys are notoriously bad-tempered, knowing they're targets for predators like lions. Eventually, they will splinter away from the main herd and go it alone, unable to keep up with the relentless pace. Also travelling with the buffaloes are these egrets. They feed on insects kicked up by the buffalo's feet and so enjoy a free ride and meal at the same time. We wait with them for a while, looking to see if any lions make an appearance. Other than the huge herd, all seems quiet, and so we move on. Our time in the Kakanaka region is starting to come to an end, but our Moremi experience is far from over. In order to reach our next location of Kwai, we have to travel east through the reserve, which gives us plenty of opportunities to see new areas and new wildlife in Moremi. On our way out of Kakanaka, we encountered this huge bull elephant. Not gonna lie, after being mock charged yesterday, I have a newfound respect for these animals and feel a little bit on edge as he crosses so close to our car.
Stopped for a tea break on the banks of the river, and we are not alone here. There's an elephant so close right now to where we're about to have our tea and coffee.
Little did I know, this wasn't the closest I was going to get to an elephant today. We set a brisk pace, hoping to cover enough ground so that we reach Kwai whilst it is still daylight. With around 4 hours of driving ahead of us, it means we can't meander off the main road too much. But there's really no need to divert down the smaller roads, as even here there is so much going on, especially when it comes to elephants. This bull elephant is stretching up to try to reach the lush leaves. It's quite incredible to see just how high they can reach. Not far away from the male is a breeding herd with some youngsters amongst them. Once they melt into the woodland, we move on. As we drive further east, we come across this beautiful flooded area of the delta, which seems particularly popular with elephants. We drive down to the water to get a better view. Huge bulls are enjoying cooling off in the water, whilst further down the riverbank, a breeding herd of elephants are enjoying a refreshing drink. Some calves are amongst them, including an adorable little baby.
This is an incredible sighting. There are just loads of elephants here by this waterway, the edge of the Okavango Delta, and it's just been so beautiful to just sit and watch them as they frolic in the water, as they drink. The baby ones as well are so adorable. And this is actually our lunch spot for the day. So we're just setting up our chairs now, and then we're going to eat a little picnic lunch with this fantastic view. Okay, so for lunch I've got this chicken wrap with potatoes and, well, just look where I am.
As we enjoy our fabulous lunch by the water, elephants start to emerge from the forest and make their way down to the tributary to drink. 3 large bulls step into the water. They're majestic and a little intimidating. It's only when you're on foot like this when you realise just how massive and powerful elephants really are and just how small we are in comparison. It's a very humbling moment. An egret gets a little too close for one of the elephant's liking, and so the bull elephant lets the egret know what he thinks. The action is getting a little close for comfort, and I find myself holding my breath as the elephant chases the egret pretty close to me. Gradually, more and more bulls appear from the woodland and join their comrades for a drink. I notice that as their numbers increase, the elephants grow bolder and edge a little closer to us. Suddenly, Lucas stands up. I turn to see what startled him. I suddenly feel very outnumbered and very small. I swear the elephants can smell my fear. I keep looking to Lucas, who seems eerily calm when facing these 7-ton giants.
There's another one coming on this side too. My heart is beating so fast. The elephants are bold and are coming up the water quite close. Pattern and these two. Another one looks like he's coming. It's quite scary. God. There's just so many of them, it's quite intimidating.
When he tells us to retreat to the vehicle, I know things are getting serious. Oh my god, that was what an experience that was. My heart is beating so fast. All those bull elephants. Lucas is incredible, how he was just standing up to these elephants and got them to run away. Wow, what an experience. It's like one thing to see them in a game vehicle, but to be there on foot, so close to them, these big bulls who look like they're about to charge, it is quite something. Wow. Whew, amazing. Just wow. That was absolutely incredible and terrifying at the same time. I can't stress enough how fantastic Lucas was in handling the whole situation. in how he stood up to the elephants, and ultimately, when they wouldn't back down, he was able to clap and scare them away. It really shows the importance of traveling with a guide who understands wildlife behavior and how to act in emergency situations. Not feeling quite bold enough to remain on foot, we watched this family of elephants enjoy a drink from the comfort of our vehicle. Feeling completely in awe after that experience, we continue our drive to our next destination. As our time in Moremi draws to an end, I'm left pondering the question that I asked at the start of the video. Is the Okavango Delta worth the hype and the price tag? I would honestly say yes. The landscape of the Delta is completely unique and so diverse. I've never seen so many species in one place. Whilst we may not have seen lions, cheetahs or wild dogs, they do live in the Delta, and our time in the Okavango Delta isn't over yet. Something I've absolutely loved about the Okavango Delta is how quiet it is. Compared to safaris in Tanzania and Kenya, there are hardly any vehicles here, which makes sightings extra special. We were the only car at the leopard sighting, and when spending time with the bull elephants for lunch. This is a big plus of a safari here, and it's only possible because of the higher price tags that safaris in Botswana have. Now, I just need to find some lions and wild dogs, and everything about my Botswana experience will be perfect. The good news is that this is just the start of our Botswana adventure. In the next episode, we head to Kwai in the very eastern tip of the Okavango. Perhaps here we'll encounter these magical predators. I'll leave a link to my Kwai video here for you to watch next once it's ready.